let's pivot as gently or not as we can to the other news that relates to Deshaun Watson, and that was the decision out of the clear blue sky yesterday of the Houston Texans to agree to terms with quarterback Tyrod Taylor, a guy who has bounced around, was the starter in Buffalo at one time, starter in Cleveland until he was supplanted by Baker Mayfield, starter in L.A. with the Chargers until Dr. Needle came into the locker room, and now he's number 2 on the depth chart. He's the guy behind. He's the only other quarterback they have under contract now in Houston behind Deshaun Watson. 1 year, up to $12.5 million. That up to implies he's actually going to be playing. The question is, will he be playing? There's 2 ways to look at this, Chris. One, he's the guy who takes over because they've realized they have to trade Deshaun. Or
right.
2, he's we have protection in the event Deshaun decides to sit out the whole year. And, hey, Deshaun, if you want to sit out, that's fine. We're not going to be caught unprepared. We have a guy ready to go if you're not going to play this year.
Agreed. That's what he is. He's an insurance policy, for all things. Whether Deshaun Watson did get hurt during the year, okay, we got a good backup who can run the offense, do those type of things. Tyrod Taylor's a borderline low-level starting NFL quarterback / one of the top backups in football. Okay, yeah, you end up Deshaun Watson sits out the year. All right. Hey, we got Tyrod Taylor. We'll be okay. He'll manage football games, make plays from, every now and then. Hey, we've traded Deshaun Watson, and now we've even drafted a quarterback, something of that nature, right? Okay, well, we don't need that quarterback to play right now. This year, we got Tyrod Taylor. He could play, be a bridge gap type of thing. So, I mean, it makes sense from all angles as far as the Houston Texans are concerned. It protects them for every scenario that happens with Deshaun Watson, and there's history, right? David Culley was in Buffalo, I believe, when Tyrod Taylor was there. He knows the guy, so that makes sense too. Tyrod Taylor, very professional, going to go about his business, do those things. He's the perfect guy you want for backup or bridge gap quarterback, whatever that may be. So that's smart. It's smart by Nick Caserio and the Texans here.
If you're Tyrod Taylor, do you ask tough questions directly or through your agent about what the end game is? If I'm Tyrod Taylor, I want to know, am I going to be your guy? Am I your insurance policy for Deshaun Watson? Are you going to trade him? What's going on here? And if you trade him, are you going to end up drafting a guy who ends up supplanting me at some point during the season? Like, how do you envision using me, especially if I've got incentives that pay me up to $12.5 million. We don't know what the base is. Let's say it's the similar ballpark on the high end as Cam Newton and Jameis Winston. So the base package, let's say it's in the range of $5 million. How do I make that $7 million if Deshaun Watson's still here?
Right.
How do I make that $7 million if you end up trading to Miami and getting the 3rd overall pick, and you draft a quarterback with the 3rd overall pick, and it's just a matter of time until I'm sent to the bench?
No,
so
I know.
I'd want to know all that if I'm Tyrod Taylor.
I hear you. I just, do you think the Texans really know the answers to those questions yet, right? I mean, I think both of us, neither one of us have been led to believe by anybody we know in the league right now that the Texans have started answering calls about Deshaun Watson or anything about that. At least I haven't heard anything like that from the people I know and trust around the NFL. So they're still holding strong about Deshaun Watson. They're not going to trade him, do those things. I'm sure they tried to be as honest as they could. The one thing I can say about Nick Caserio, he will shoot you straight. And, I $12.5 million for backup quarterbacks, pretty damn good money like you talked about. I mean, we got Cam Newton who's going to be starting for a team and, making less than that. Significant. You're going to have to earn it. But we'll see where this goes either way. But I think it is smart by them. And, Tyrod's just – he's at a point of his career where he can't really call his shots, right? He's kind of got to just go with, okay, this makes sense for me. This is good money right here, 12.5 to be the backup, or even if I am the bridge gap guy, and we'll go from there. But you're right. There's still a lot of different scenarios that could play out as far as Deshaun Watson's trade and affecting Tyrod Taylor.
That news emerged yesterday afternoon. Peter King and I were doing PFTPM, and my first reaction was the Texans finally acknowledge they have a problem.
Yeah.
Now I can't get a clear read. My first thought was this means they're going to trade him. And then as Peter and I talked it through, it's like, they very well could be signing Tyrod Taylor
just
so they
to
can
sit on him.
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to huff and puff and try to blow our house down, we have protection in the event that you do that. But I think the acquisition in and of itself is the first time we've seen an official acknowledgement by the Texans that there's a problem, because they've been trying to play this, I don't know what you're talking about, game.
Right.
That's what David Culley did last Thursday with that press conference, a half hour after his comments dropped to Jim Trotter and Steve Weish, where he says, Deshaun's our quarterback right now, and laughs about it. But then it was back to, Deshaun, yeah, he's committed to us. I don't know anything about him not wanting to be here. This is acknowledgement by the Texans. So at least we know they're suited and capable of admitting that there's an issue. But it's still not clear how this acquisition fits into their intended path toward fixing the issue. Because, look, there is a chance that their attitude is going to be, hey, screw you. We got a contract. We gave you a bunch of money last year. And if you want it between what you have to pay us back and what you forfeit, if you want to give out more than $20 million this year, we'll take it. We'll happily not pay you the $10 million in salary that you're due to make this year. We'll happily collect $5 million plus in signing bonus money that is attributed to this year that you haven't earned. We'll happily collect all the fines that you would be racking up to the tune of $50,000 a day for skipping training camp. And then for each preseason game, the fine is the amount of a game check.
Right.
So, hey, they now have the ability to do it without worrying about Josh McCown or someone else being their starting quarterback. They've got someone who could come in and do a good job, a good enough job. He's not Deshaun Watson, but he's not just some – and I don't mean any disrespect to Josh McCown. That was just the first guy I thought of. He's not even under contract anymore. But just whatever slappy they happen to find.
Yeah, I got you.
And say, you're our quarterback. It's an undrafted guy out of, Central Michigan or something. This is a guy who's played in the NFL, taken a team to the playoffs. This is a credible replacement for Deshaun Watson in the event that Watson decides to sit out the whole year and the Texans decide not to trade him.
No, I mean, yes, it definitely is. And that with the fact of the lawsuit and those things that, have been filed and we haven't seen yet, it does force Deshaun Watson a little bit into a spot here too where, again, conspiracy Chris there wants to go, oh, well, maybe they're taking away all his options to be traded. They're kind of forcing him into a corner here to be like, hey, the Texans are still here. We still like you during all this tough times and things like that. I don't know. But either way, it's a smart decision by Tyrod Taylor. And
look, if I represented Deshaun Watson in this, there would be many things that I would immediately be attempting to explore, and there would be various legal paths that I would be ready to pursue if I got the slightest shred of evidence to support my suspicions that these are just natural suspicions we're going to have because of Tony Busby's potential connection. I want to know what the connection is.
Yeah.
And I would aggressively pursue all avenues available to me within the confines of the litigation that apparently hasn't been filed yet. Maybe it has, or otherwise, to get to the bottom of that. Because, my approach to anything like this that makes the gut say something may be here, you got to find out. You can't just ignore it. You start turning over rocks. You start putting in the elbow grease. You start finding creative ways to get information and force people to give you documents, text messages, communications. Who did you talk to? Who do you know? When did you last talk to him? How well do you know him? Oh, you know him? Well, you've been to his house? That kind of stuff. I mean, I'd want to find out all that to see whether and to what extent there are tentacles between the lawyer and the organization. And that's fair.
Right.
At this point, there's already a tentacle. I want to see how many tentacles there are and whether or not they had any involvement directly or indirectly in the situation that Deshaun Watson now faces. Again, these are all things I would be doing if I represented the interests of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, the Texans got, they got a lot of work in front of them. There's no doubt. We'll see where this Deshaun Watson conversation goes. Tyrod Taylor was a smart sign by them. But, I mean, they're in total rebuild mode. I mean, they really are. There's no other way around it. I mean, if you really look at the moves they've made over the last few days, the signings. It's a lot of, low-level free agent signings to 1- and 2-year deals, right? To basically, hey, a little depth, We'll evaluate you throughout the year, maybe, but it's nothing major that they got to be stuck with, because I think they're in the process of retooling their whole football team. And I think they've kind of told us that here with some of the names you see on these 1- and 2-year deals that they've signed. Yeah, there's some good players here, but not guys you look at to go, oh, well, he'll be, he could be there for the next 5 or 6 years, or, oh, he's definitely going to start and be the man there. No, I mean, yeah, he might start, for a year, whatever else, but it is a total rebuild mode, and just, man, now we got this story to talk about, on top of all the other stuff, and we'll see where it goes. But I don't expect a whole lot from this Texans football team, really, with or without Deshaun Watson this year. And I don't know how they can be all that good with what you see on paper. And I know we still have more free agency and draft, but, man, they got a lot of work in front of them.
Yeah, and that is certain, and the challenge is working their way through the weeds in a way that makes sense. Nick Caserio is still adjusting to an organization that I would guess does things very differently than the organization he spent a long time with before coming to Houston, and how quickly can he get things pointed in the right direction, that remains to be seen.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.